Imagine someone insults you. Their words strike like an arrow. Within seconds, your heart begins to race, your jaw tightens, your breathing becomes shallow. Without thinking, you fire back. The argument grows louder. Harsh words become deeper wounds. Hours later, the conversation is over, but the regret remains. Now imagine the same moment happening again, the same insult, the same anger, the same opportunity to react, but this time you pause, just for a moment, you breathe, you choose your next words carefully. Perhaps you say nothing at all. The argument never grows, the conflict quietly fades. Nothing about the other person changed. You did. Now ask yourself one question: how many of your greatest regrets were caused by situations, and how many were caused by your reactions to them? If we're honest, most of the pain we carry isn't created by the event itself. It's created by what we did after the event happened. One sentence spoken in anger, one impulsive decision, one emotional message sent too quickly, one moment of losing control. Sometimes a single reaction can damage relationships that took years to build. Sometimes it can destroy opportunities that may never return. And yet, most people spend their lives trying to control other people. Very few learn to control themselves. This is one of the oldest lessons in Stoic philosophy, and perhaps one of the most important, because life will always test you. People will misunderstand you, criticize you, ignore you, disappoint you, betray your expectations. The world has never promised fairness, but it has always offered one remarkable gift: the freedom to choose your response. Imagine standing beside a quiet lake. Someone throws a stone into the water. The surface ripples for a few moments. Then, slowly, the lake becomes still again. Now imagine a small puddle. Throw the same stone. Mud splashes everywhere. The disturbance lasts much longer. The stone is identical. Only the depth of the water is different. Our minds often work the same way. Shallow emotions react instantly. Deep character responds thoughtfully. The goal of Stoicism is not to eliminate emotion. It is to deepen the mind. Modern life constantly encourages the opposite. Social media rewards instant opinions. Breaking news rewards emotional outrage. Arguments spread faster than understanding. People are encouraged to respond immediately, not wisely. We are taught that every criticism deserves an answer. Every disagreement requires a defense. Every opinion demands a reaction. But have you noticed something? The loudest voices are rarely the wisest. Imagine standing in a crowded marketplace. Everyone is shouting to be heard. Merchants, travelers, children, musicians. Now imagine one elderly man sitting quietly beneath a tree. He says very little. Yet whenever he speaks, the entire crowd falls silent. Why? Because wisdom doesn't compete with noise. It rises above it. There is an old story about a young warrior who desperately wanted to become the strongest fighter in the kingdom. He trained every day. He sharpened his sword until it gleamed. Finally, he visited an elderly master known for never losing a battle. The young warrior challenged him immediately. The master calmly replied, "I already am." Confused, the warrior asked, "How?" The old man lifted his cup. The battle is won by the one who controls himself before trying to control anyone else. The young warrior understood nothing. Years later, after countless battles, he finally did. The greatest enemy had never been standing in front of him. It had always lived within him. His anger, his pride, his fear, his impatience. The Stoics believed every human being fights this invisible battle every single day. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire filled with political betrayal, war, disease, and constant pressure. He had countless reasons to become angry. Yet in his private journal, he reminded himself of something extraordinary. He never wrote, "Today I must control everyone else." Instead, he wrote reminders about controlling his own thoughts, his own actions, his own judgments, because he understood something that many people never learn. The greatest victory is not defeating another person. It is refusing to be defeated by your own emotions. Imagine carrying a lit torch through a dry forest. Every angry reaction throws sparks into the trees. Sometimes the fire spreads beyond anything you intended. Now imagine carrying a lantern instead. Its light still guides you, but it never burns everything around it. Wisdom works like that lantern. It illuminates. It does not destroy. Psychologists tell us that emotional reactions often happen before conscious thought fully catches up. The brain is designed to protect us from danger. When it senses a threat, even an insult or criticism, it prepares us to fight, flee, or defend ourselves. Thousands of years ago, this response helped humans survive. Today, however, the greatest dangers are rarely wild animals. More often, they are wounded pride, misunderstood words, unexpected criticism. And if we respond to every emotional trigger as though our survival depends on it, we become prisoners of our impulses. Imagine a puppet controlled by invisible strings. Every insult pulls one string, every compliment pulls another. Every opinion controls your mood, every criticism controls your confidence. Who is really living your life? You or everyone around you? The Stoics wanted to cut those strings. They believed true freedom begins when your emotions no longer control your choices. Over the next few chapters, we'll explore why the human mind reacts so quickly, what psychology teaches us about emotional self-control, and how the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca can help us replace impulsive reactions with calm, thoughtful responses. Because the strongest people are not those who never feel anger. They are the ones who know exactly what to do with it. And in the end, your life will never be defined by everything that happens to you. It will be defined by how wisely you choose to respond. Why do intelligent people sometimes make foolish decisions? Why do kind people occasionally say hurtful things they later regret? Why can one sentence from a stranger ruin an entire day? The answer is surprisingly simple, because there is a difference between feeling an emotion and being controlled by it. Every human being experiences anger, fear, frustration, jealousy, disappointment. The Stoics never claimed these emotions should disappear. Instead, they taught that emotions become dangerous only when they begin making our decisions for us. Imagine driving a powerful car through a mountain road. Your emotions are the engine. Your wisdom is the steering wheel. Without the engine, you never move forward. Without the steering wheel, you eventually crash. Life requires both. The problem begins when we allow emotion to take the driver's seat. Modern psychology explains that our brains are designed to react quickly to anything that feels threatening. Long before human beings lived in cities, our ancestors survived by responding immediately to danger. A rustling sound in the bushes could mean a predator. Hesitation could cost a life. The brain became incredibly efficient at detecting threats and preparing the body to react before careful reasoning had time to catch up. That ancient survival system still exists today. The difference is that most modern threats are no longer physical. Someone criticizes your work, a friend ignores your message, a stranger leaves. A harsh comment online, your brain often reacts as though you're facing real danger. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tighten. Your breathing changes. Your thoughts become narrow. In that moment, your goal is no longer understanding. It becomes protection. This is why people interrupt, raise their voices, send messages they later delete, make decisions they later regret. The reaction feels automatic, but automatic is not the same as unavoidable. Imagine standing beside a piano. If someone suddenly slams both hands across the keys, loud noise fills the room. Anyone can create noise. Now imagine a skilled pianist, the same instrument, the same keys, but every movement is intentional. Every note has purpose. The difference is not the piano, it is the person controlling it. Your mind works in much the same way. Anyone can react. Responding wisely requires practice. There is an old story about a young merchant who traveled across the country selling fine pottery. One afternoon, while unloading his cart, a customer accidentally knocked over one of his most valuable vases. It shattered into dozens of pieces. The merchant's face turned red. His fists tightened. For a brief moment, anger took control. Then he noticed an elderly traveler watching nearby. The old man smiled gently and asked, "Will your anger put the vase back together?" The merchant looked down. "No," Will, shouting, "recover your money." "No, then why give away your piece as well?" Those words stayed with the merchant for the rest of his life. The broken vase could not be changed. His response could. How often do we do the opposite? We suffer once because life is difficult, then suffer a second time because we react poorly. The Stoics believed the second kind of suffering is often optional. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that events are rarely as powerful as the judgments we attach to them. Think about two co-workers receiving the same criticism. One immediately believes, "I'm a failure." They carry that feeling for days. The other thinks, "This is uncomfortable, but perhaps I can learn something." The criticism was identical. The experience was completely different. Not because the world changed, because the interpretation changed. Psychologists call this cognitive appraisal, the meaning we assign to an event. The Stoics understood this principle nearly 2,000 years before modern psychology gave it a name. They recognized that between an event and a reaction, there is a moment of interpretation. That moment changes everything. Imagine holding a burning piece of charcoal because you want to throw it at someone else. Who gets burned first? You do. Anger often works the same way. It promises justice. It delivers suffering. Seneca warned that anger is one of the most destructive emotions because it convinces us we are thinking clearly when we are not. Have you ever noticed how different a problem looks after a good night's sleep? Yesterday's crisis suddenly seems manageable. Words you almost said no longer feel necessary. That is the power of distance. Time allows wisdom to catch up with emotion. The mentally strong understand this. They rarely make permanent decisions during temporary emotions. Imagine a skilled archer preparing to release an arrow. Before letting go, they become perfectly still. They breathe. They focus. Only then do they act. If they rushed every shot, they would miss the target far more often. Responding wisely is much like that pause before releasing the arrow. It may last only a few seconds, yet those few seconds can change the direction of an entire conversation or an entire life. There is another psychological truth worth remembering: emotions are contagious. Walk into a room where everyone is shouting. Notice how quickly your own tension rises. Now imagine entering a room where someone remains calm despite the chaos. Their calmness begins influencing everyone around them. Human beings constantly reflect one another's emotional states. This is why one calm person can sometimes prevent an argument that dozens of angry people could never stop. The Stoics understood that emotional self-control is not only a gift to yourself, it is also a gift to those around you. Your family feels it. Your friends notice it. Your co-workers trust it. Your children learn from it. Calmness spreads just as quickly as panic. The question is, which will you choose to spread? Imagine a lighthouse standing on a rocky coastline. Storms arrive, waves crash, powerful winds shake everything nearby. Yet the lighthouse remains steady. It does not stop the storm. It simply refuses to become part of it. That is emotional maturity. Not controlling every circumstance, controlling yourself within every circumstance. Perhaps this is why the strongest people often speak the least during conflict. They understand that silence is not weakness. It is space, space for reason to replace impulse, space for understanding to replace assumption, space for wisdom to guide action, because every reaction begins with emotion, but every wise response begins with a pause. And sometimes that single pause becomes the most powerful decision you make all day. Imagine sitting upon the throne of the Roman Empire. Every sunrise brings new problems. Generals demand decisions. Politicians argue for power. Enemies gather along distant borders. Disease spreads through cities. Trusted friends become rivals. Rumors travel faster than truth. Every choice affects millions of lives. Now ask yourself one question. How would you respond if this pressure became your daily reality? Most people believe power makes life easier. Marcus Aurelius discovered something different. The greater the responsibility, the greater the need for self-control. History remembers him as one of Rome's greatest emperors. The Stoics remember him for something even more important. He spent far more energy governing himself than governing his empire. Every evening, after leading armies and resolving conflicts, Marcus Aurelius opened a journal. He did not write speeches for the public. He did not record victories to impress future generations. Instead, he wrote reminders to himself, simple lessons, honest reflections, quiet corrections. His greatest battle was never against Rome's enemies. It was against impatience, pride, fear, anger, and the constant temptation to react emotionally. Imagine a king who rules an entire nation, yet cannot control his own temper. Can he truly be called powerful? The Stoics would say no, because power over others is temporary. Power over yourself can last a lifetime. Marcus Aurelius understood a truth that still transforms lives today. Every event presents two opportunities. One is to react, the other is to respond wisely. Only one of those choices builds character. There is an old story about a young Roman officer who desperately wanted to become a great leader. One afternoon he approached an elderly Stoic philosopher. He asked, "Master, what is the secret to commanding men?" The old philosopher looked at him quietly. Then he asked a different question. "Can you command your anger?" The officer hesitated. "Not always. Can you command your fear?" "Sometimes. Can you command your pride?" The young man lowered his eyes. The philosopher smiled gently. "Then begin there. For the person who cannot govern himself will never truly govern anything else." Those words changed the young officer forever. Years later, when soldiers praised his calm leadership during battle, they assumed he had been born courageous. They never saw the invisible victories that came first. The victories over impatience, the victories over ego, the victories over impulsive reactions. This is how Stoicism defines strength, not by physical power, not by wealth, not by influence, but by self-mastery. Another remarkable Stoic, Epictetus, taught one of the simplest yet most liberating ideas in philosophy. He reminded his students that some things belong to us, and many things do not. Our opinions, our choices, our actions, these belong to us. The opinions of others, unexpected events, the past, the future, these do not. Imagine carrying two heavy bags every day. One contains things you can control, the other contains everything you cannot. Most people spend their lives carrying the wrong bag. They worry about other people's approval. They replay old mistakes. They fear situations that have not yet happened. Eventually, they become emotionally exhausted. The Stoics quietly placed that second bag on the ground. Then they walked forward, carrying only what belonged to them, their own character, their own choices, their own response. There is another story often shared among Stoic teachers. A wealthy merchant once lost nearly everything in a terrible storm. His ships disappeared beneath the sea. His fortune vanished overnight. Friends expected him to collapse under despair. Instead, he calmly said, "The storm took my ships. It did not take my judgment. It took my gold. It did not take my character. It took what belonged to fortune. It could not take what belonged to me." This is the heart of Stoic wisdom. Life can remove possessions, status, comfort, even health, but your ability to choose your response remains. Your greatest possession, only you can surrender it. Seneca often warned that anger is a temporary madness. Think about that description. Madness, not because anger itself is evil, but because anger often convinces us that our worst ideas are our best ones. How many friendships have ended because of one emotional sentence? How many families have carried years of pain because no one paused before speaking? How many opportunities have disappeared because pride refused to remain silent? The Stoics believed that every emotional reaction should pass through one simple question before becoming an action. Will this response make the situation better, or simply make me feel better for a moment? Those are rarely the same thing. Imagine a skilled archer standing before a target. A sudden gust of wind blows across the field. Does the archer immediately release the arrow? No, they wait, they breathe, they allow the wind to settle. Then they shoot. Wisdom follows the same pattern. The wise person understands that emotions are like the wind. Strong, temporary, always changing. Permanent decisions should never be made during temporary storms. Marcus Aurelius practiced this every day. He reminded himself that difficult people were inevitable. Criticism was inevitable. Disappointment was inevitable. The question was never whether challenges would come. The question was who he would become when they arrived. Imagine visiting a blacksmith's workshop. A glowing piece of iron rests inside the fire. The blacksmith removes it and strikes it again and again. Each blow shapes the metal, not because the blacksmith hates the iron, because he sees what it can become. The Stoics believed life works the same way. Every criticism, every delay, every failure, every insult, every disappointment, each one asks the same silent question. Will you react or will you respond wisely? Every answer shapes your character, little by little, day after day, until eventually calmness becomes your habit rather than your exception. Perhaps that is why Marcus Aurelius continues inspiring millions nearly 2,000 years later, not because he escaped hardship, because he refused to let hardship decide who he became. His greatest victory was never over invading armies. It was over himself, and perhaps your greatest victory will not be winning every argument, or proving every critic wrong, or controlling every situation. Perhaps your greatest victory will come the day you realize this. No one else controls your peace. No one else controls your character. No one else controls your response. That choice has always belonged to you. Imagine two captains sailing across the same ocean. Without warning, a violent storm appears. Massive waves crash against both ships. The wind tears through the sails. Visibility disappears. The first captain panics. He grabs the wheel with trembling hands. He turns sharply every time another wave appears. The ship begins drifting. Without direction, the crew loses confidence. Chaos spreads from one person to another. The second captain faces the very same storm. His heart races too. He feels fear. He hears the same thunder. But before moving the wheel, he takes one slow breath. He studies the waves. He remembers his training. Then, calmly and deliberately, he makes his next decision. The storm is identical. The difference is not the ocean. The difference is the person steering the ship. Your mind is that ship. Every day, life sends unexpected storms. A harsh comment, an unfair accusation, a financial setback, a disappointing phone call. Someone betrays your trust. A plan falls apart. You cannot always control the storm, but you can always choose how you hold the wheel. This is the difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is immediate. A response is intentional. A reaction is driven by emotion. A response is guided by wisdom. A reaction asks, how do I protect my feelings? A response asks, what action serves my values? That small difference changes everything. Modern psychology teaches that there is often a brief moment between an event and our behavior. It may last only a few seconds, sometimes even less, yet within those few seconds lies extraordinary power, because that pause allows the thinking part of the mind to join the conversation before emotion takes complete control. Imagine striking a match. If you immediately throw it into dry leaves, a wildfire may begin, but if you gently blow it out first, nothing burns. Many arguments begin because no one paused long enough to extinguish the emotional spark. There is an old story about a respected judge known throughout his country for making remarkably fair decisions. Young lawyers often asked him the same question: how do you remain so calm when everyone else becomes emotional? The judge smiled. He pointed toward the large window behind his desk. Every difficult decision waits beside that window. The lawyers looked confused. What do you mean? He explained, whenever anger visits me, I stand at that window until anger leaves. Only then do I decide. Years later, people praised the judge's wisdom. Few realized that his wisdom began with something very simple. He refused to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. How different would our lives become if we practiced the same habit? Imagine receiving a hurtful message. Instead of replying immediately, you wait 1 hour, perhaps 1 day, read the message again. Suddenly, your response changes, not because the words changed, because you did. Distance gives wisdom room to grow. The Stoics practiced this constantly. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that people often act out of ignorance rather than malice. Think about that for a moment. Someone may criticize you because they are afraid. Someone may insult you because they are hurting. Someone may become impatient because they are carrying burdens you cannot see. Understanding this does not excuse harmful behavior, but it changes how you respond to it. Imagine walking through a forest after heavy rain. Every tree drips water. If someone shakes one branch, water falls everywhere. Does that mean the branch created the water? No, it simply revealed what was already there. People often do the same to us. They do not create our anger, they reveal it. They do not create our insecurity, they expose it. Every difficult person becomes a mirror showing us where we still need to grow. This is one of the deepest lessons in Stoicism. The obstacle is often the teacher. There is another story about two brothers who inherited their father's small business. One customer entered the store furious about a product that had broken. The older brother reacted immediately. He argued, raised his voice, blamed the customer. The situation became worse. The customer left and never returned. The younger brother faced a similar situation a few weeks later. Another unhappy customer, another complaint, another opportunity to react. Instead, he listened. He allowed the customer to finish speaking. He apologized for the frustration even before deciding who was responsible. Then he calmly worked toward a solution. That customer became one of the business's most loyal supporters. The difference was not intelligence, it was emotional discipline. People rarely remember every word you say, they almost always remember how you made them feel. Responding wisely builds trust. Reacting emotionally often destroys it. Psychologists call this emotional regulation, the ability to experience powerful feelings without allowing those feelings to dictate behavior. This does not mean suppressing emotions. Suppressed emotions eventually return with greater force. Instead, it means acknowledging them without becoming their servant. Imagine standing beside a fast-moving river. Leaves float past on the current. You notice each one, but you do not jump into the river to chase them. Thoughts and emotions can be treated the same way. Notice them, name them, allow them to pass. You are the observer of your emotions. You are not your emotions. Seneca believed that the strongest person is not the one who never becomes angry. It is the one who recognizes anger early enough to prevent it from becoming action. That is self-mastery. Imagine a skilled gardener pulling tiny weeds from the soil every morning. The work seems almost unnecessary. The weeds are small, easy to ignore. But weeks later, the garden remains healthy while neglected gardens become overgrown. Emotions work exactly the same way. Small frustrations ignored today become explosive anger tomorrow. Small moments of patience practiced today become lasting peace tomorrow. Your emotional habits grow wherever you repeatedly give them attention. This is why wisdom is not built during life's biggest crises. It is built in ordinary conversations, in traffic, at work, at home, while waiting in line, during misunderstandings. In moments when no one else notices the battle taking place inside your mind, every one of those moments becomes another opportunity, another chance to strengthen patience, another chance to practice compassion, another chance to choose understanding instead of impulse, because in the end, life will never stop presenting reasons to react. The world will continue testing your patience. People will continue disappointing you. Unexpected problems will continue appearing. The question is not whether the storms will come. The question is this: when they arrive, will you become another wave in the storm? Or will you become the lighthouse that remains steady while everything around it is shaken? That choice is the beginning of true wisdom. By now, one truth should be impossible to ignore. Life is not controlled by what happens to you. It is shaped by how you choose to respond. Every insult, every disappointment, every unexpected setback, every difficult conversation. Each one presents two paths. The first is quick, emotional, automatic. The second is slower, calmer, wiser. The Stoics believed that the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is often found in those few quiet seconds between stimulus and response. The good news is this: wisdom is not a talent. It is a habit, and habits can be practiced. Just as a sword is sharpened one stroke at a time, a wise mind is strengthened one decision at a time. Here are 10 Stoic practices that can help you stop reacting and start responding wisely every day. 1. Practice the sacred pause before answering criticism. Pause before replying to an angry message. Pause before making an emotional decision. Pause, one deep breath, one slow inhale, one quiet moment. It sounds almost too simple. Yet that single pause interrupts the cycle of impulsive behavior. Imagine standing before two doors. One opens immediately, the other requires you to stop and think before entering. The second door usually leads somewhere much better. Wisdom begins with slowing down. To ask one powerful question whenever strong emotions appear. Ask yourself, will this matter 1 year from now? Many things that feel enormous today become almost invisible with time. Imagine looking at a mountain through a telescope. It appears overwhelming. Step back far enough, and it becomes part of a much larger landscape. Perspective reduces emotional intensity. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to view life from a broader perspective. The wider your perspective, the calmer your response. 3. Separate facts from stories. Suppose a friend doesn't reply to your message. Immediately, the mind begins creating stories. They're ignoring me. They're upset. I must have done something wrong. Notice something. None of those are facts. The only fact is this: they haven't replied yet. Everything else is interpretation. The Stoics trained themselves to separate reality from imagination. Doing so prevents countless unnecessary emotional reactions. 4. Listen longer than you speak. Most arguments grow because people listen only long enough to prepare their next sentence. Instead, become curious, ask questions, listen completely, imagine entering every conversation as a student rather than a prosecutor. People often reveal far more than their first words suggest. Sometimes anger hides fear, sometimes criticism hides disappointment, sometimes silence hides pain. The more deeply you listen, the more wisely you respond. 5. Control your inner dialogue. No one speaks to you more often than you speak to yourself. When something goes wrong, notice your internal voice. Does it say, "This always happens to me. I'm a failure. They ruined everything"? Or does it say, "This is difficult, but I can handle difficult things"? The second voice creates resilience. The first creates suffering. Choose your inner words carefully. They eventually become your outer life. 6. Delay emotional decisions. Never make important decisions while overwhelmed by anger or fear or deep sadness. Imagine trying to read a map during a violent storm. The paper shakes, rain covers the words, nothing is clear. Wait until the storm passes, then decide. Many lifelong regrets begin with decisions made during temporary emotions. 7. Practice voluntary silence. Not every opinion needs to be spoken. Not every insult deserves an answer. Not every misunderstanding requires a defense. Sometimes silence communicates more strength than any argument ever could. Imagine a mountain. Storms strike its sides, winds roar across its peaks. The mountain never argues. With the weather, it simply remains. Silence is not surrender. It is self-control. 8. Focus on your circle of control. Every morning, remind yourself of one simple truth. You control your effort, your honesty, your attitude, your choices. You do not control other people's opinions, unexpected events, the past, the future. Imagine carrying a backpack. Remove everything you cannot control. Suddenly, the journey becomes much lighter. The Stoics traveled through life carrying only what belonged to them, their character, nothing else. 9. Reflect every evening. Before sleeping, ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I react today? Where did I respond wisely? What can I do better tomorrow? Marcus Aurelius practiced this through personal reflection, not to criticize himself, but to improve himself. Growth begins with honest awareness, without reflection. Tomorrow often repeats yesterday. 10. Remember the person you want to become. This may be the most powerful practice of all. Whenever emotion begins taking control, ask yourself, how would my strongest, wisest self respond right now? Not your angry self, not your fearful self, your best self. Identity shapes action. When you begin seeing yourself as someone who remains calm under pressure, your behavior slowly aligns with that identity. There is an old story about a sculptor working on an enormous block of marble. A child watched him for weeks. Every day, the sculptor removed only tiny pieces. The child finally asked, "How do you know what to cut away?" The sculptor smiled. "I simply remove everything that does not belong." The child returned months later. Standing before him was a magnificent statue. life asks us to do something similar. Every day, remove one unnecessary reaction, one impulsive word, one moment of pride, one habit of anger, one fearful assumption. Little by little, the strongest version of yourself begins to appear. People may one day admire your patience, your calmness, your emotional strength. They may assume you were born that way, only you will know the truth. Your peace was not given to you, it was practiced. One pause at a time, one thoughtful response at a time, one difficult conversation at a time, because wisdom is not built by avoiding conflict. It is built by choosing your response within conflict. Every challenge becomes another lesson. Every criticism becomes another opportunity. Every disappointment becomes another chance to strengthen your character. And one day, without even realizing when it happened, you will notice something extraordinary. The situations that once controlled your emotions no longer control your life. Not because the world became kinder, but because your mind became wiser. And that is the quiet power of Stoicism. Imagine yourself standing at a crossroads. Two roads stretch into the distance. The first road is familiar. You've walked it many times before. It is the road of instant reactions. Someone criticizes you. You become defensive. Someone disappoints you. You become angry. Someone ignores you. You assume the worst. At first, this road feels easy, natural, automatic. But as you look farther ahead, you notice something. It is filled with broken relationships, missed opportunities, regret, stress, sleepless nights. The second road is different. It begins with something almost invisible. A single pause, one deep breath, one quiet moment before speaking. This road is not easier. In fact, it is often harder. It asks you to control yourself instead of controlling others. It asks you to choose wisdom over pride, patience over impulse, understanding over assumption. But if you continue looking ahead, you notice something beautiful: peace, confidence, strong relationships, quiet strength, freedom, not freedom from problems, freedom from becoming a prisoner of your emotions. That is the road the Stoics chose. And every single day, life asks you which road you will walk. Marcus Aurelius once faced wars that threatened an empire. Epictetus endured slavery before becoming one of history's greatest teachers. Seneca lived through political conspiracies, exile, and constant uncertainty. None of them lived easy lives, yet they all reached the same conclusion. The greatest victory is not over circumstances, it is over yourself. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Every insult becomes another stone. Every grudge, every argument, every painful memory, every need to prove yourself. Year after year, the backpack grows heavier. Eventually, you begin wondering why life feels exhausting. The Stoics quietly suggested something different. Put the backpack down, forgive, let go, choose peace over pride, respond instead of reacting. You may not change the people around you, but you will completely change the weight you carry. There is an old story about a monk walking beside a river with one of his students. They came upon a woman who was unable to cross the strong current. The monk gently lifted her, carried her across, and continued his journey. Hours later, the student finally spoke. "Master, our teachings tell us not to touch strangers. Why did you carry her?" The old monk smiled. "I set her down by the river. You are still carrying her. How often do we do exactly that? Someone offends us, and we carry it for weeks. Someone insults us, and we replay the conversation for years. Someone hurts us, and we allow that moment to live inside us long after it has ended. The event lasts a few minutes. Our reaction keeps it alive for decades. Responding wisely is not only about choosing better words, it is about refusing to carry unnecessary burdens. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. Each strike of the hammer seems harsh. Each moment inside the fire appears destructive, yet neither the hammer nor the fire exists to destroy the steel. They exist to strengthen it. Life often feels the same. Criticism, failure, disappointment, conflict, delay. Each challenge shapes your character, not because hardship is pleasant, but because hardship gives you another opportunity to practice wisdom, one calm response today. another tomorrow, then another. Eventually, calmness becomes part of who you are. People will begin asking, how do you stay so peaceful under pressure? They may believe you've been lucky. They may assume you simply have a calm personality. Only you will know the truth. Your peace was earned, one pause at a time, one difficult conversation at a time, one wise decision at a time. Now I'd like to leave you with a simple challenge. For the next 30 days, choose one situation every day where you would normally react. Maybe it's traffic, maybe it's criticism, maybe it's frustration at work, maybe it's an argument at home. When that moment arrives, pause, take one deep breath, ask yourself one question. What would my wisest self do right now? Then act from that answer. Not from anger, not from fear, not from pride, from wisdom. At first, it will feel unnatural. That's okay. Every great skill feels unfamiliar before it becomes effortless. Remember, no one is born emotionally disciplined. People become emotionally disciplined through practice. If this story helped you see your own reactions differently, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who needs a little more peace in their life. Leave a comment below and answer this question. What is one situation where you want to stop reacting and start responding wisely? Your answer might inspire someone else to begin their own journey. And if you're committed to mastering your mind through Stoicism, psychology, and timeless life lessons, subscribe and join this growing community. Every week, we'll explore practical wisdom that helps us become calmer, stronger, and more resilient in a world that constantly tests us. Always remember this: anyone can react. Very few people can respond wisely. Reaction is easy. Wisdom is earned. Reaction is driven by emotion. Response is guided by character. Reaction gives away your power. Response protects it. So the next time life tests your patience, the next time someone pushes your buttons, the next time anger rises inside you, don't ask, how should I react? Ask, who do I want to become? Because every response is a vote for the person you are becoming. Choose wisely, choose calmly, choose the version of yourself that your future will thank you for. And one day, people will admire your peace and call it natural. Only you will know the truth. It wasn't natural. It was built. One thoughtful response, one quiet victory, one ordinary day at a time.